Wait for they know me, wait for they knew me. It was me, Tonya, Julie. Used to ride around through the town. Used to ride around in a
Hey guys, welcome back to the Giovanni Show. Last week we had on a very exciting white. This week we have a slightly less exciting white, but he's still pretty exciting. Conor Myles is joining the show. What's up, dude?
Wow, way to cook me to start the episode off. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, it is a tough act to follow with Cooper DeJean. I'll tell you what. Uh what an exciting you interviewed a guy that did pick six off Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, and to talk to him, and he was like, yeah, I really did that. Like, me and him are so close in age now that I feel like he was just as excited as I would have been if I would have picked off Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl and gotten a pick six. I mean, he was hyped.
What did it feel like to talk to him?
Honestly, it felt normal because I've never had anyone treat me the way that he's treated me because I think he was more of a fan of me than I was a fan of him, which was
That's
really
crazy.
weird. It was really, really weird, really
Guy
different.
had the biggest play in the Super Bowl that like you'll talk to your kids about, but like he was more of a fan of you than you were of him. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
cool,
I
man.
mean, I'll put the picture somewhere on the YouTube version of this, somewhere on the screen of him taking a selfie with him. Dave Spadaro captured it. It was just, he was walking down the hallway. I said, Coop. He turns around. He goes, Gio, I gotta get a picture for you for all my friends back in Iowa. I was like, what? You're Cooper DeJean, dude. Like,
That's
that's
awesome, bro.
insane.
That is
Insane.
absolutely insane. Shout out to
But
Cooper. I mean, that's the future of the Eagles secondary, him and Q. The
yeah,
time is now.
yeah. But not an exciting day for Eagles fans. Brandon Graham heading out. I mean, I don't know about you, but I shedded a few tears today. After losing Jason Kelsey, now Brandon Graham. It's just all these guys that I grew up watching headed out the door, and it really, really hurts, dude.
I think I think it's bittersweet for like you guys especially, but like my generation of Eagles fans that were born in like the 90s that are watching the Birds ever since they were kids up until now. Cause like I remember where I was with my dad when Brandon Graham got drafted. Like I remember my dad when Jason Kelsey got his first start in 2012, loving him just because my dad was like an offensive lineman fan. Like he grew up watching, unfortunately, the Redskins, but like he grew up with Russ Grimm and the Hogs for their offensive line. So when I converted him to an Eagles fan because we went to all these Eagles games in Philly, he was always obsessed with the offensive lineman. But Jason Kelsey really caught his attention because of his size and his perseverance and the way that he would dominate despite all his flaws. So my dad loved him, and then he loved Brandon Graham too because Brandon Graham was back then. I know you don't remember this stuff, but like everybody wanted Earl Thomas. Everybody called Brandon Graham a bust because of Earl Thomas starting off out of the gate like a Hall of Fame player, and Brandon Graham getting hurt and then not making much of an impact with the Eagles right off the bat when he first started his career with us. But he was so unorthodox because of his size. Back then, in 2010, when you're drafted an edge rusher that size, you get mocked for that pick when you make that in the first round. That he really changed the game, and I like where he gave a shout out to Jim Schwartz because he said Jim Schwartz really kind of allowed him to be himself finally, and that's when he really evolved as a player. And I agree with him completely because I think 2016 from then on he turned a whole entire cycle. He became national media attention as a player that he is. So it sucks, it sucks to lose these household icons, but I mean, I think the best part about it is it makes you really realize like, yo, the Eagles have something really special in their building with Jalen Hurts. They're turning the guard over from Fletcher Cox, uh, J.C. Kelsey, even Lane Johnson, because Lane Johnson's up there. He only got a couple of years left. Brandon Graham to Jalen Hurts really taking over this team and building it into what it is. And they didn't miss a beat without Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelsey. They won the Super Bowl. So I know without Slay, I know without Brandon Graham, Sweat, all these guys are losing, trying to go to Johnson. I trust that Howie Roseman and this team are in the right position to continue making it a contender because they have the right quarterback leading the way. Like Tom Brady with the Patriots, he had to go through this stuff. When Tom Brady first started off with the Patriots, it wasn't all about Tom Brady. It was about Willie McGinnis, Teddy Bruschi, Richard Seymour, Ty Law, like what that defense was doing over on the New England side. Tom Brady just did his part extremely well. Don't get me wrong. Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but when he first started with that team, it's kind of like what they're doing with the Eagle with Jalen Hurts now. They're like Jalen Hurts is carried by this team. Nobody really knew what Tom Brady was back then. They just knew he's a winner. but they looked at the Patriots defensive side and they're like, wow, they have one of the best defenses of all time. Of course, they're dominating. But I think watching all these guys leave the Eagles and continue watching Jalen Hurts progress and become the player that he is and elevate this team to other levels because Brandon Graham missed a lot of the season this year. Darius Slade didn't really finish that many games, if you recall. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think he had the best season. You look like his career is ending. Josh Sweat loved what he did this postseason, but during the regular season, you always have to question his motor. Milton Williams, love the guy, absolutely do. Never was a full time starter with the Eagles. Was a rotational piece. Uh, Many are saying, myself included, like he really did benefit from Jalen Carter. Uh, Mekhi Becton, as great as he was only here for a year, and I think playing next to Lane Johnson and Cam Jurgens, you know, no matter who it is, you benefit. So I'm gonna miss these guys. It does, it is absolutely heartbreaking to lose them, but I think this team is turning a corner where we're gonna start realizing like Jalen Hurts, Nolan Smith, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, all these younger guys that this team has. Um, Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, Reed Blankenship, Cooper, Quinion. Like this is the new era of Eagles, and this new era of Eagles is already winners already. They already have a Super Bowl ring on their name. So I can't wait to see what else they do more. So it is bittersweet to say goodbye but to turn this chapter to what it is now, this is a championship caliber team going forward. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, and I think honestly, the shoes are going to be hard to fill. But I think that if the Eagles go out and they have the right draft and they draft a guy that I've been looking at very closely too, Kyle Kennard, I think he could fill the shoes of VG. I see a lot of similarities between the two, and I think honestly, he could be the perfect transitional player to go in and take the spot for VG coming into this draft. I think Howie has a lot of draft capital, and I think he's going to use it and get Kyle Kennard here.
Did you meet Kyle Kennard?
I did not. Okay, so all right, so this was really like the worst situation, and it happens every single combine. It's so annoying. So the medical stuff always gets held up somewhere in the week. But the day that I was supposed to go meet Kyle Kennard, I was standing outside of his podium. He was my last interview that I wanted to get of the day. Stood outside of his podium for 2.5 hours. He still wasn't there because medicals were held up. No one else had came out, and so we just called it at the 2.5 hour mark. But if Kyle Kennard goes to the Eagles, I'm gonna have to have him on the show. So I mean, I think he's a stud, dude.
What do you think of the? So what position do you think they go with their first round pick?
I think they're gonna go for Malachi Starks.
So you think they're going safety? Do you think they're going safety? You think they stay at 32? Then you move up. So I think they move back.
Really?
Yeah. I think you're gonna think this is interesting, and I think the show will too. And I'm gonna say it because I know you always remind me all the time. I never thought Howie Roseman would pay a running back. Never did, and he did. He paid. He paid. Not only did he pay him once, he paid him twice.
Yeah.
So I'm never gonna say never with Howie ever again. So drafting a safety in the first round, is it ever gonna be possible in the Eagles' history? Now I'm optimistic for anything now. It's definitely possible because of what Howie did with Saquon Barkley. But I think they don't make the pick at 32. I think they trade down. And I really think that they draft an edge rusher because I do like what they brought in with the Jeezy Ojulari, however you say his last name, from Georgia, the New York Giants second round pick. I think he's gonna be great for the Eagles. I really do. They signed him a 1 year deal though. I think Josh Hunch is gonna be a contributor for the Eagles too. They're looking to replace Josh Sweat. They're looking to replace Brandon Graham. I think they're gonna replace some of those guys. But you know who they're really actually looking to replace? They're looking to replace a young guy that needs to sit back, watch the guys in front of him grow, develop, and then become a contributor for this team, like they did with Jalen Hunt. Because Jalen Hunt is going to take a leap this year because they want the future edge duo of this team is Nolan Smith and Jalen Hunt. And that's what they want, and that's what we hope for because those guys are really great players, and I do like the potential of Hunt too as well. But they need
And
to
I mean,
replace.
we always see Howie do that. With every player, it seems like Howie drafts a guy like Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith didn't really see the field a whole lot, and he's just being incorporated a little bit more each and every year. I mean, that's just the way Howie and this Eagles team operates, is they draft someone to sit in the shadows and be able to be coachable and wait for their time.
Right, and then my whole point behind that is like Nolan Smith's a starter now. Like that's he's gonna be a full-time starter for you this year. Hunt is gonna get a ton of more snaps this year. Probably gonna be like the Nolan Smith of last year. I do think they draft Joyner out of Minnesota in the second round, and I think he's an undersized edge like Brandon Graham. I think he has a high motor, and he's been great for my college football ultimate team. So I would love to have him actually on the Eagles for sure. But there's some other guys. I do think they go edge in the first round. I'm just gonna go out there and say that. With their first pick, excuse me. With their first pick, I think they go edge. Nick Scorton out of Texas A&M, I like him a lot too. James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, I think is a guy that could be like the Derek Barnett redemption because when we did get Reggie White out of Tennessee, that did work out. Barnett, not so much, but I mean, Chase Pierce Jr. is a really guy with a high motor. Don't know if he's gonna be there at 32, but I would like him as well.
Fournette was okay. You got to give him props for being. He was there. He was there.
They won a Super Bowl with him, so I mean,
So yeah, I mean he has a ring.
yeah.
So
So I think they go edge. You think they go safety in the first round?
yeah, I think Malachi Starks is an Eagle, and I think it's on lock.
I would love
Honestly,
that. I would love that.
dude, could you imagine? He's another bulldog. Like how I remember he was on the phone with who was it, Nolan Smith, and he was like, you know how badly it pains me to get all these bulldogs. I think Howie's gonna have one of those talks again. So
I do. I agree. I agree with you 100%. What else do you think they do in the draft?
I I just really think that Malachi Starks and Kyle Kennard are Eagles. I think Kyle Kennard is on lock. I think Malachi Starks is up in the air, honestly, to be honest with you. Um, but if Kyle Kennard can join this Eagles defensive line, I just think he's going to bring that chip uh, on his shoulder that needs to be an Eagle. I know I did a video on my social media. If you guys want to go follow Gio the Podcaster, Instagram and Twitter. I did a video breaking down why Kyle Kennard should be a Philadelphia Eagle yesterday. So if you guys want to go watch that. And then also I did one of Malachi Starks as well about a week ago. So got all the receipts there. Got all the receipts as why I think how he's gonna get them. So honestly, I think it's gonna happen. I think those two guys are Eagles. I've never been so confident going into a draft. I've never done my research like I have this time. So
Quick question for you.
yeah,
What do you think they're gonna do with tight end?
man,
I think
it's
God. I think
it's
I
weird.
think the
I think
writing's on the
Goddard's
wall with
out of the
Goddard.
door. I
Yeah,
think
the
and
writing on him
and
is on the wall. I agree with you on that.
here's the
I wish
thing.
it wasn't. I
The
wish they
the
would let him play
Eagles
out his
are
final year.
the
But
Eagles are always going to do this with any tight end, it seems. He's getting the Zach Ertz treatment. And I think, honestly, he felt untouchable after that treatment of being the pride and joy of this Eagles offense that they made him for a while. But he's receiving the same exact treatment, going out and getting Kylan Granson and everything like that and making these moves. I think it just seals the deal. I mean, all those moves aren't for depth at the end of the day. So
uh, I still think they drafted tight end pretty high. I don't
I
think
do
those guys.
too.
I don't
I
think the
don't think
guys that they
Kylan. I
signed.
don't think Kylan Granson's the starter, but I think Dallas Goedert's out the door for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unfortunately, I'd rather him play on his last year of his contract with us, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen. Um, I was wondering, did you see the tight ends at the combine?
Mm-mm. I didn't go to tight end day.
They hired the Bowling Green old head coach as the quarterback coach. The Harold Fannin tight end is the guy I think is the guy they look towards. There's really only Tyler Warren, obviously, he's a great tight end. He's not going to be anywhere close to the Eagles pick. Loveland out of Michigan too. He's a great tight end as well. Don't think he's going to be available for the Eagles pick. I think when they trade down, they're gonna have 2 second round picks. Last time they won the Super Bowl, they picked Dallas Goddard. This time when they won the Super Bowl, they pick his replacement, Harold Fannin Jr.
Yeah.
I think the first two picks is defensive line and tight end. But I do want to say one thing, and I'm surprised you didn't say it because I was like, waiting for you to say it. Why do you think? I don't think it's so set in stone that they don't go offensive line in their first pick because I think right guard is more open now than it's ever been before. They
I
don't
just
really have
can't
a.
see it. I just don't see it.
I know everybody says this every year, and then the people that say that every year end up being right because it
Yeah.
doesn't happen. But Lane's about to be done soon.
He has
Yep.
till 2027.
Right, right. but you can put the guy at right guard until then. You got a 5-year contract out of him if you pick him at 32 because you get the 5th-year option. I don't think they're gonna do it either, but
I don't think so.
it's possible. It's possible.
It's either gonna be, at this point, it's either gonna be Malachi Starks or VG's replacement at 32. Or like you said, maybe Howie will do something crazy and move back. But I don't think Howie moves up. I think that's out of the, I think that's out of the equation for
I think
sure.
it is too. I think it is too. And I don't know. I don't think it's just out of the equation just because he doesn't want to give up picks. I think it's out of the
Oh, yeah.
equation because of money too. Because you're
Yeah.
paying more more you move up. So you're paying the player more than when you move up. I think that they're gonna relax, stay at 32 or trade back. But last time they had 32, they traded back. So I think they're gonna do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Connor, I appreciate you coming on, talking birds today, dude. Go Birds as always. VG, we love you. And man, I'm excited for the draft. I got my
I'm excited
hotel
for the
booked. I'll be there.
I'm excited for the future of the Eagles. I mean, this is they have Jimmy Kempski put out a tweet today. I don't know if you know who that is, the Philly voice writer.
Yeah.
Great writer. 4 players on the Philadelphia Eagles roster that are projected to make the 53-man roster are over 30. 4, and one of them is Goddard. That's insane. They just won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane. I can't wait to see Nolan Smith next year. That's the player I'm like most
Man.
excited to see make the jump
Yeah.
next year.
Dude, I'm excited.
And I questioned him
excited.
at first. I questioned him at first, and he shut me up real quick in this postseason. I'll tell you right. And then this season too, he had a good season. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what Nolan Smith that leap that Nolan Smith makes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. So
All right,
Go
appreciate you having me
Birds.
on, brother.
Yes, sir. Go Birds, brother.